Hi, I am Lauren Trefether, and I'm better known as Lauren Midwest on Instagram at Lauren Midwest, and I'm excited to chat today.
Hi there, I'm Gianna from Family Fun Twin Cities, and this is the Let's Go Do Fun Stuff show. Lauren Midwest, aka Lauren Trefethrin, comes to us all the way from Fargo, North Dakota. Fun fact, Fargo is my mom's favorite city in all of the U.S. The minute Lauren popped up on my Instagram, I knew I wanted to be her friend. As a true Minnesota sports fan, Lauren may not be a Minnesota native, but she is our affectionate cousin from North Dakota.
So, Lauren and I have some things that are similar in our lives. She grew up and is also living in North Dakota. Now, that is not similar to me. I did not grow up in North Dakota, but I grew up in Western Minnesota. So a lot of her stories that she shares, I understand them.
I think they're very similar places overall. Of all of the states I've been to, I feel like North Dakota and Minnesota are the most similar in small town life, especially small town Minnesota and small town North Dakota, where I grew up, seem very, very similar. Maybe even more so than North and South Dakota.
Yeah, I agree. There's something about South Dakota that isn't quite the same, though there's lots of like Midwest overlap, right? There's lots of that. But there's something about so Morris, if you look at Minnesota and it's got the little bumping out into South Dakota, we lived 50 miles in, so we were right next to South Dakota. But anytime we needed to do something, we didn't go to South Dakota. We'd go to North Dakota, right? Like Fargo, Wahpeton, whatever. Like we went that direction.
Yep.
I don't really know why, but that's
that's so interesting. Yeah, I grew up in Beulah, North Dakota. So that is, it's a little bit in the middle of nowhere, but it's an hour-ish from any larger town or city. So if you draw a triangle between like Minot and Bismarck and Dickinson, it's sort of in the middle of all of those, but it's an hour from any of them. Or more. Right. So pretty isolated. And it was a town of 3,500 or so, maybe even less when I was growing up. But I loved growing up in Beulah, and especially Western North Dakota in general. I think it's beautiful and it's lovely and it's full of awesome people. So I grew up there in Beulah and then went to the big city of Fargo for college, thinking that someday I would maybe do something somewhere else. And I don't think that I ever thought that Fargo was my forever place, whether I would move back to Western North Dakota or go to a bigger city. I just didn't think this would be my forever spot, but life just kind of kept me here. Every time I tried to leave, it kept me here. Plans would fall through or things would come up. So Fargo has been my home now since 2008, however many years ago that is.
We'll do the math. Just under 17, probably.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so it's basically half my life has been here. That's wild. I hadn't even stopped to think about that. But yeah, been here a long time. And my husband grew up here. I have a husband that graduated from Fargo South, and we have 3 kids together, ages 10, 7, and 5. So
they're adorable.
Oh, thank you. They're a handful.
On Instagram if you ever want to see them.
They make appearances for sure. I've tried my best to keep that to a minimum, but they're very much like their mother. They're a little bit, they're large personalities. So they have ideas or things they want to do. So I'm trying to let them do that in a safe way with me moderating it.
And you're doing a fabulous job. I don't feel like we actually know your kids. We just know your kids. Do you know what I mean?
You see them occasionally. Yeah. Yes. Especially my oldest, who's 10. She's definitely interested right now in content creation and the editing process of everything. So it's been fun to let her sort of dabble in that through my Instagram.
Yeah, that makes sense. You're from North Dakota. You have embraced, as I saw from your son's bedroom decor, like all the Minnesota sports teams.
So I kind of had put that on the back burner for a long time because I was so busy with really littles. And now as they're getting older and interested, we're able to do things like going to games. We love going to Vikings games, Timberwolves games, Wild games, Twins games. And it's been a really fun experience as a family, because it's something that with all of our different personalities, we can all agree that that's a good time. Even if we have different varying levels of interest with it, the culture of being there is very fun, even for my 5-year-old who could honestly care less about the sport, but she has fun eating popcorn and drinking a pop that she doesn't usually get.
Yeah. And the excitement of just all the people being excited,
Yeah.
right?
Yes. Yeah. And then halfway through the game, she wants her tablet. But at least we're there as a family. Yeah.
And you get her attention for a little while.
Exactly. She's
Yeah.
learning slowly. She's the least interested. And I need to remember she's 5. Like, I was watching Barney. I did not want to be at a Twins game when I was 5. But
Someday she'll be grateful, right? Like,
it hits them, I think, a little bit later for some kids. But I don't think she has really much of a choice in the matter. Like, you're going to go.
yeah. Well, you're 5. You don't have a choice.
Exactly.
Can you tell us your story about Instagram?
Yeah. That's kind of a funny story.
You are like my second Instagram interview, like that I know from Instagram that I was like, I've got to talk to this person. And I love it. Yeah. And it was just, you were exactly who I wanted you to be. So I think that's what I like about Instagram.
I think when
Is that
people
you
do
do.
Instagram right, you get a real good feel of who they actually are. And it's usually not very, I don't know, like filtered and like very, curated. I that was the opposite of what I wanted. So my background actually is in school counseling. So I was a school counselor for, I want to say 7 years. I should know that. But yeah, about 6-7 years. And I really, really loved it, except that it was burning me out. I really struggled with capacity and boundaries and being able to shut that job off. And I had these really busy little kids at home, and I just was noticing that I was fried. I would come home and I really wanted to give a certain level to them, and I just didn't have it anymore. And I was really struggling with that and the guilt of that. And then my husband basically one day was just like, you don't have to do that anymore. Like, do you not want to do that? Do you want to do something else? And I had never even thought of that. Like, I never let my mind go there, because when you work so hard for something for so long and earn a master's degree, and like I paid, whatever amount into this, it feels like a waste. I don't want to waste that time and energy and resources, and it'd be all for nothing. He's like, no, it's not though, because it's a skill set. It's a skill set that you have. It's going to transfer to something else. Just think about that. And if you want to leave, I support you. And I hadn't really thought about that before. So I really sat with that. And then that year is the year that I quit. I left school counseling thinking I might go back. And then all the things that have happened since actually just have made it very clear to me that I don't want to go back to that work yet, not anytime in the near future, because I then started doing some content creation and social media management for my husband, and Ghost wrote a book for him and his business partner. So I dabbled into all of these fields and these more creative fields and realized that is how I get my energy. That doesn't drain me at all. I'm actually a better person when I'm doing that, and it doesn't ever make me feel exhausted or tapped out. So I knew that I was in the right field. And then I kind of accidentally stumbled into, I absolutely cringe at the word influencer, not an influencer. Yeah, influencer is I have this negative association, and maybe that's a me problem, but content creator, I stumbled into that because I was kind of overstimulated at home one weekend, and I was just like, I need to get out of the house. Like, everyone's being so loud and cranky and fighting. I'm like, I just need to get out. And my husband's like, okay, you go for it. And so I just went and sat in my car. I got a coffee and was just sitting there and thinking. I was like, I have an idea for something, but like, who cares? It's like my 900, 800 Instagram friends from all stages of my life. And I had no real followers really. It was my friends and family. I was like, well, I don't know, I'll make it anyway. So it was this language that I think is funny that we have, like my top 5 or 10. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So it was like my favorite expressions regionally. Mm-hmm. So I made that video, and it was incredible how fast that took off. And I was like, okay, well, I have a ton of these ideas. I'll just keep making them till I'm out of ideas. And then over a year later, now I'm not out of ideas. And it's 35,000 now as of, I think, this week. So it's crazy how that one decision to upload that. If I wouldn't have uploaded that, none of it would have happened. So if people have an idea and they think it's silly, but they're like, but I like it. I always say, just do it and then keep going. Just keep going until you don't want to do it anymore. And that has worked. That's the formula for me.
That's awesome. I like that you're letting, well, not everybody's like you, Lauren. You understand that, right?
Well, I feel like I'm not very original. Like I don't feel very original. I feel like I'm kind of like I've tapped into this collective mindset. And I think that where I can acknowledge I have a skill set is just doing it. Like just make it. And it doesn't have to be perfect and it doesn't have to be hyper edited. Just make it and just do it.
Yeah. I'm with you on that one, but I've been told multiple times that there aren't many people like us. And when they say many, there's probably lots of people like us. They just don't, that we're just like spread way out, right? But yeah, I'm not afraid to just try something. And if somebody doesn't like it, well, my feelings might get hurt, but that's the worst, right? Like,
right. And if you like it, that's what I've had to accept is if I like it, that's kind of enough. Like some videos might get 200 likes and some might get 20,000 likes. And it doesn't really, I can't let that affect me. I can't let that ruin my creative process. And, I can't do that because the algorithm. I'm not subject to the algorithm. I'm not going to let that infringe upon my creative process because that is the killer of creativity is when I'm thinking about a math equation in my head. No, thank you. So I'm just going. And then if someone doesn't like it, scroll on by.
I think if somebody can make math equations funny and fun, I'm going to challenge you.
No, man. Math is my opposite of my skill set. My husband's so good at math and my kids are so good at math, but I struggle. So maybe that's what I need. I need it to be like a song or something.
We didn't stick too long on the math equation song, but we think that would be a good idea. What we did do, though, is start talking about regional phrases.
Yeah, no, this isn't going to happen. I was like, that's, yes! I know exactly what this means.
No, that's hilarious. Yes, and if it was like, no, that'd be much more chill, right? It'd be like a much more seamless process. But no, that's never a good thing. Never good. It's way worse than no. No is one thing, but no. It's like, ooh, that's extra no.
Right? And it's like, you're with me on this, right? Yeah. No.
It's horrible. Yeah, that's horrible.
Let's talk about Midwest stuff. What are some of your favorite Midwest idiosyncrasies?
Ooh. If I'm being like, I don't want to be sarcastic about it because like my favorite is like passive aggressive attitudes, but I genuinely do love the way that people avoid conflict. I think it's really cute. I know that it drives some people crazy, but I just love seeing it, and especially my family members, older family members. It's a very specific way of communicating that feels very comforting to me, but I think that if people are not used to it, it would drive them crazy. But saying things like, "Oh, well, that's an interesting idea. Yeah, maybe. I suppose maybe that's a heck no. It's never going to happen. Like." Thanks for sharing, but no, like we're not going to be doing that. I find myself doing that too. And I just think it's cute, but my husband does not think it's cute. So I'm working on getting more direct and just naming what I actually think. But I think that our expressions are really cute. And I love the accent that I know I have it to a degree. And it definitely comes out around certain people. Like Robbie had pointed out when I was on the phone with my uncle, who has a very strong upper Midwest accent. I'm like, oh, hey, Steve, how you doing? Yeah, no, I understand. No, well, we're going to be home about like 3 this afternoon. Okay, no, I'll see you later. He's like, what are you doing? Like, what is that voice? But if someone else does it, I instantly am doing it too. And I think that that's just it's like home, right? I'm like, oh, and now I am 12. Okay. And I am speaking like I used to. I've lost it and then it comes back, raring. So yeah, I love that accent. And I've had people, this is so interesting. I've had people in comments say they've never heard that accent before. They've never heard it. And to that, I ask, have you left the house? Have you left your own home? If you've never heard that, where are you? And do you interact with other people? Because I am not the strongest one, not even close. People over 60, so many of them have it. It's craziness. I don't believe them. I think that they're trolling me and it's working because it truly, I'm like, really? All right.
Look at that, though, all that engagement, though, even if it is trolls. There you go.
True. It's true. Yeah, bring it on. Tell me about how we don't have the accent. Maybe that person doesn't. But honestly, my theory is the people that don't hear it have it the worst.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Like nobody talks like that. I don't hear it. Like, okay. Yeah. And if people genuinely can't hear it, I can't force you to hear it, but it's there.
Yep.
It's there.
Yep. Especially, I think I've had a friend say, like, who's not from the Midwest, say something like, can you say boat? Like,
oh,
boat?
yeah.
So, okay. What do you think about the phrase oofda?
Oh, yeah, that's a part of my language. I think that is so specific to pockets of upper Midwest culture because my husband, I don't think, has ever said it, and he grew up in Fargo. I say that, I'm not exaggerating, every single day. And some iteration of it. So it's either oof, and there are tiers. Okay. So like if I say oofda, like that's like it's almost like grief. Like I'm like, oh my gosh, oofda. Like that's a lot to process, or wow, that's a tough situation. Oof is more like I tripped or something. It's like more like oof, like okay, that's like ouch, or like I dropped, or like oops. It's like an oops, right? And then my daughter created what my 5-year-old created, fufta, which is like you're relieved. Yeah, like it's a close call. Fufta. So I'm like, we have so many different variations, and I love it. And I wish that everyone understood that one because that is so versatile.
Okay, I have a story I really want to share.
Yes,
I think this is why I like talking to you, because I get to share just as much because you share all these thoughts. So I have a friend from Indiana. They're 2 UFTA stories, and she flew in or drove in. She got in really late, and so she texted me when she got to her other friend's house that was way down in Prior Lake, and I'm way up in New Brighton. So like, she might as well still have been in Indiana, right? Like she was far away. And she pulls in, or she texts me and she goes, I gotta go to bed. I'm so tired. I'm like, absolutely. Oofda, that was a long drive, right? Like, and I meant it sincerely. Yeah. And I think I kept her up because she texted me and she was dying. Like, I'm rolling on the floor. You said oofda and you meant it.
It was sincere. It's an oofda in the wild. I love those. When I hear other people throw out an oofda, I'm like, yes, my people. You're my people.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And then there was somebody who on Instagram that shared like his great grandmother's or grandmother's house burned down completely, completely in the wildfires. And I said, okay, so I know people make fun of this phrase oofda, but I want you to know I sincerely mean oofda.
Like, and that's like a big oofda. That's a capital U, capital D oofda.
Yeah.
Yikes.
Like, I'm not teasing.
No, it can be anything from like sincere condolences about something to more just like oofda, like you have too much going on, like oofda, and something was really hard. It's so good, and it's like a catch-all. You can just like throw that out for anything that's difficult. Exactly. And I love it. Like the cutest. It's almost like a replacement curse word, which is great. My kids can say it. It's great. I will say that before I say any swear word. Now, my husband, on the other hand, he has other words that he has a very colorful vocabulary. I want him to start using oofda.
It would be great.
Yeah.
He's like
Oh,
the
he'll
cool
never.
guy of your
He's a
family.
cool guy.
With his
He's
cool
very cool.
glasses and his hat.
Flat bill hats. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. He's not who I thought I would marry because I grew up in Western North Dakota with cowboys and like small town boys and love them dearly, but a very different culture of men than what I grew up and married. He's like a jersey wearing, flat bill hat wearing, like cool guy glasses. He's not who I grew up with at all. But it's the clash of cultures sometimes where I'm like, seriously, he's very direct. His mom grew up in Chicago, so he is very like no nonsense, cutting through the BS type, and I am not that. Whatever the
You
opposite
like
of
to
that.
walk around the bush a few times.
Yeah. I'm going to let you draw your own conclusions from my very vague issue that I'm bringing up right now. And then maybe you'll find some truth in it. And then maybe you won't, but I'm going to let you decide what I just said. And he's like, what are you talking about? Just tell me what I'm doing that's taking you off.
My husband grew up 2 hours from Chicago in like I call it deep South Wisconsin.
Yeah,
And it's
similar.
He's not Chicagoan at all, but
Okay.
he definitely has more directness to him. The
Yeah.
first time we left, like a gathering, and he said, "Okay, it's time to go," and he walked out the door. I was appalled.
my. No.
That's just rude.
That just made my stomach hurt. Like I'm just like, oh my gosh, can you imagine? Like I'm so uncomfortable. No, Robbie will look over during an event and he's like, yeah, we're leaving like a couple minutes, right? I'm like, what are you? No, I have to start my first round of goodbyes. Hold on a second. Okay. Give me a half hour because this is a process and I have to plant the seed that we're leaving. And I'm just like, oh man, it is getting kind of late. And then it's probably within an hour from that point. After I've said, oh, yep, yeah, we should hit the road here. And then give me an hour. Don't do that to me. That made me so uncomfortable. Yeah. He's just like, yeah, I'm out. I'm bailing.
How long have
No.
you and Robbie been married?
We have been married for coming up on 13 years.
Okay. So Chris and I have been married 25. I'm like a full 10 plus years older than you. And I would say around 13, I was still like, I'm not ready. Like I can't change. But now I'm getting to the point where I'm like, oh, good idea. Let's go.
Freeing. It's freeing. I have done what they call it. Was it the Irish goodbye where you just leave? That's better for me than like saying like we're leaving in a couple minutes. Like I'd rather just leave because it's too uncomfortable for me to not do the Midwest goodbye. I need to either commit to that or just I've disappeared. There shouldn't be an in between. Okay. We just had to leave. I got violently ill. Okay. Lauren needs to go immediately. Yeah, exactly. I am nauseous all of a sudden. Bye. Oh no. I can't. It makes me uncomfortable. I have to. It's politeness. But that's another thing that I really love. I know that some people get we kind of get a bad rep for that we're too nice and polite and that it's not genuine. I think that's kind of a misconception is that's like a front for this very like, oh yeah, they're thinking all these things, but actually like they're pretending to be nice, but then they're mean behind your back. That's really not been my experience. I really think most people of this region are genuinely good people and kind people and neighborly and helpful. Of course, there is some like anywhere in the world, there's going to be some of that behind your back stuff. But I do think that our kindness is authentic by and large.
Yeah. It may be a little shallow because you can't be deep with everybody. But yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah. And I'm like, well, what's the alternative? Being mean to your face and mean behind your back? Like, I'd rather someone at least be nice to my face, even if they have more going on behind their head. Like they're like, okay, I don't love this lady, but I'm going to be kind to her. All right. I'll take that. That. That's okay.
I agree. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then I liked how one time, I think you compared Midwest nice to Southern hospitality. Did you do that?
Yes. Yeah. I touched on that. I think that was in a story, but, or no, maybe it was a real, I forget. But yes, where I think that they are there, I consider the South and the Midwest to be cousins because in so many ways they are similar, but then of course they have their differences too. Right. But I think that at the core of both of those is a helpfulness and a neighborliness and a kindness. And then some people from the South are like, this is not me saying this is commenters and people from the South. They're like, except that the Midwest is more genuine and the South, it's more of a front of like, it's this sugary sweet, like I'm going to say all these right things and be, hospitable, but then we're talking gossip about you the second you leave. That has not been my experience, for the record. I love the South, but I do think I think it is genuine up here. I think that for the most part, people aren't nasty behind your back either. So I don't know where that, in either the South or the Midwest, where that really came from, except for the fact that there's a little passive aggressive attitude sometimes up here.
Perfect. So let's talk about some of the fun things you like to do in the Midwest, be it the Twin Cities, be it North Dakota. Please explain where it is. If people want to go there, that'd be great.
Awesome. Perfect. Yeah. So I was thinking about that this morning of what are our favorite things to do. Obviously, we love, when we're in the Twin Cities, we love to do any and all sports games. That's probably our number one. We also love, as maybe cliche as this is, Mall of America is just a great time. Even if that is probably something that almost anyone would say if they're a tourist to the Twin Cities, it is really fun. And there's something you can do different every time. Like we hadn't done Build-A-Bear in a long time. And I took my 5-year-old and we did that there. That was super fun. The Lego area there is so cool. All my kids love Lego and my husband is obsessed. So that's really fun. We love to go to parks there. I wrote down our favorites that we go to almost every single time. We love the 2 in Maple Grove. We have Central Park and Elm Creek Park there that we really love. And then in Bloomington, Highland Park. So much fun. So cool for kids of all ages.
It's actually Highland Lake Park. Because there is also a Highland Park area of St. Paul, but the one in Bloomington you're talking about with like the chutes and ladders.
Yes.
Yeah, that's Highland Lake Park.
Highland Lake Park. Well, we love it. We love it there.
Yeah.
My kids, that might be their favorite of all of them because there's so much to do and it's so big. And then other than that, I mean, in Minnesota, we love to go to any state park because they're all so beautiful in Minnesota. Itasca is probably our favorite, but we don't get there every year. Every few years, we try to do that and go to the headwaters, and it's gorgeous. In North Dakota, my favorite thing to do is Medora because it's what I grew up doing. It's in Western North Dakota. I want to say about an hour or two. I should know this. I go there so many times. I'm going to say an hour and a half past Dickinson. That might be wrong. Hour and a half.
It's not too far from the border, right?
Correct. It's near Montana, in Western North Dakota, and it's this little town called Medora that is Western themed, and they do a musical almost every night, sometimes matinees as well. And it has been around. Correct. Yep. I want to say it starts in May and then it goes through the summer, and it is such a fun time just to even grab some lunch there, go to ice cream, go to the show at night. And it's this very cool frozen in time thing that the show changes every year or two, but the theme of it stays so closely, like North Dakota pride, the history of North Dakota, Teddy Roosevelt, about the Teddy Roosevelt National Park stuff. It's so cool. So if anyone is headed to Western North Dakota or around Western North Dakota, definitely do that. It is always a great time. And it has been one of my favorites since I was born, really. I've been doing that my whole life, every year or two. And it is a great time for anyone, any age. I was going to say for kids of all ages, but anybody, anyone.
Mm-hmm. I've heard many good things about that. My parents would go when my dad was alive. They would go every year.
Oh, I love that.
I would hear about Medora this and Medora that. My dad grew up in North Dakota, in St. John, so really close to the Peace Gardens.
Oh, okay.
So they're very, if they could have retired anywhere other than where they're living now, it would have been North Dakota.
Oh,
there's something about you North Dakota people, and this is what I said at my dad's funeral. I was like, he loved being from North Dakota. Mm-hmm. I don't get it. But all North Dakotans have it.
Yes.
Yes. I think love being from North Dakota.
There's so few of us. I think it's like we have to be loud about our pride. And it's just a very cool state. It's a very beautiful state, especially, and no offense, Eastern North Dakota, which is where I'm at now. But Western North Dakota is something special with the Badlands and the history there, and it's so cool. And it's very, it's very, like, the people there are so down to earth and just wholesome, and they take pride in what they do, and they work hard, and it's more simple, I think, than this very fast-paced, complex world. It's this maybe slower pace of life, but in the most beautiful way. So yes, I love where I'm from. I'm very proud to be from North Dakota, and I do think that is a common thing when you grow up here, is that it's like instilled in you that, like, be proud so people know we exist, kind of.
Even if you leave the state
Yes.
will never die. Like,
Correct.
the state is always with you.
We were told growing up, I remember distinctly in high school being told to mention in, like, any job interview, any application, that you're from North Dakota, because we get such a good reputation of being hard workers. And I'm like, will do. Absolutely. I don't know if that's even true or if that was part of the brainwashing, but it worked. It absolutely worked.
North Dakota propaganda.
Yeah, it really was, in the best way.
Well, this has been so fun. Thank you so much for taking the time to chat, Lauren.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, that was super fun. Thank you so much, Lauren. You are a gem. If you are on Instagram, go give Lauren a follow. She's at Lauren Midwest. Her evaluations of Midwest life are so spot on. If you didn't grow up in Podunkville like I did, you will get a humorous sociology lesson. And if you did, like me, you will find a kindred spirit in Lauren. I sure enjoyed this interview. I hope you did too. And now it's your turn to go do fun stuff.
They did a good job. My mom said she chose it because she tried putting doctor ahead of all of, Paige is my sister, and then it's Lauren, and she said Dr. Lauren. Well, okay. I'm like, yeah, not setting unrealistic expectations or anything. Mom. Classic mom.
Your Fargo Dome boat show.
Boat show at the Fargo Dome. Good luck on that one. Yeah, we're going to the boat. Okay, I'm going to try without any. The boat, I have to make it brighter, I think. It's like boat show at the Fargo Dome. I'm like,
Now
okay,
you sound
that sounds
Californian.
like a valley girl. Yeah, it's the only way. It's my vehicle out of my Midwest accent is to just go valley girl. I have no other vehicle.
Yeah. We are so excited to have you. When we say we, I mean me and everyone.
I'm so
entire
happy to
world.
be here.
Okay. If you wouldn't mind starting with, like, hello, my name is
Yes.
Dr. Lauren.
Yeah, I wish.